because this is a beta, we don't need to do all the fancy introduction stuff, and everybody here heard that at least one time yesterday. So welcome to Smugmug 103, Basic Introduction to Design and Customization. And that is the end of the slideshow. I'm going to take it a little easy because I know I still see people dropping in, and we have not reached the full registration amount yet, although there's always a percentage that don't show for one reason or another, but we'll get set up here. Oh, Thales is saying hi from Miami. Hi, Thales. We're not going to deal with the cameras, no intro. We're just going to dive right in so that we can make the most of this 90 minutes and get as much done as we can. Who knows? We might even get wrapped up early. Seth will be here taking your questions on the side, but by all means, hopefully we will be able to get you guys all educated out and get you started and get you the tools that you need to get started. And of course, if you have any questions that Seth's not able to answer, he will by all means be sending you in the right direction and giving you a link. So what we have here is a logged in site. I'm on Firefox on this browser, and I'm in Safari on this browser. Once again, showing you folks the difference between the logged out and logged in version. Let's ask for that raise your hands right now. Who did not attend the 101 webinar yesterday? Because that's the one that I need to recover a couple items on. Raise your hands if you were not at the 101. This is going to go once. This is going to go twice. 3 times. Everybody was here to the 101. Okay. So that means I don't have to go too much into the other stuff that I covered there as far as the customization, but I will point out that one of the things that I removed during the 101 and have reactivated for this, just in case folks weren't here for the 101, is the footer, the full footer, and also the navigation menu and branded menu up at the top, which has our logo, the login option, search, and the support option. And then, of course, all the links to Smugmug oriented type stuff down here. And I did want to make sure that I showed you folks how to remove that again here in the customization webinar, basically because that's totally about customization. In case anybody missed the 101, we can show them how to do that here. So a couple of items that we were going to cover before we get to that, and this is going to be kind of preamble stuff. Now, one of the things we covered in the 101 yesterday was the profile, the edit my profile option, and getting your ducks in a row, getting your assets ready before you start customization will make it easier down the road. So you don't have to go looking for things. I'm going to give you some advice as far as that goes. So if you fill out your profile before you even dive into the customization stuff, decide what your display name is going to be. Add in your social links, Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever you've got there. You can link anywhere on the internet as well using the navigation menu, which I'm going to show you guys how to build. But if you get all this information in there to start, you will automatically pull it for a lot of reasons. It'll save you the trouble of adding it in later when you're like, why didn't that happen? Well, we put it in the profile. Another thing I'd like you to take a look at is, and I've got a lot more stuff here at the top level today to show you. We've got our public galleries and folders, clients, print shop, my family galleries. We created a couple of these together yesterday. And over here, the webinar assets and the website assets. So these I use in the webinar for these 3 events that we currently run. But I do want to go into this website assets folder. And this should be something that if you're designing in any way, shape, or form, this is a really good thing to build before you go into the design. And if you don't build it before, you're going to want to build it once you're in there because it'll make your life a lot easier. So a couple of things to point out here, and we're going to talk about custom website pages in a little bit. But I want you to see these other galleries here. I have a gallery called Homepage Slideshow 1, and I have another gallery called Homepage Slideshow 2. And then I have another gallery called Background Images, which I'm using with no watermark. So for you pros who use a watermark, rather than trying to go into galleries that are public, where your work is displayed with a mark, for your design aspects, and same thing with the homepage and so forth, for your design aspects, for what background slideshows, collected photos, etc., it's much nicer to be able to show those in their beautiful, high resolution, no watermark, and so forth. So something to think about is if you want a repository for that you can dip into without having to look through all of your galleries for this photo and that photo, just create collections of them within a website assets folder that you can go straight to and tap whenever you want to build in these blocks that you're going to build. Other things here, we see site imagery. In fact, let's ask this. We're going to do another raise your hand just so while I'm talking I can know who's mostly listening. Let's get an idea of the difference between people who are using the site for their personal use or their professional and commercial use. So if you're a pro intending to sell, raise your hands now, and then I can get an idea of how the splits work in there. This is interesting. Almost exactly half of the people here are intending to sell and half of them aren't. Okay, so that tells me that we got to go a little bit both ways. What you see here is a gallery of site imagery, and I've uploaded a couple of my logos to it, which you would do as a professional. We've got some other logos. I got a copyright image here that I can use as a watermark, and I can use some of these logos as a watermark. If you're using it for a non-commercial reason, you may or may not have logos, and you probably wouldn't be using watermarks because that's a pro tool, but that's something to keep in mind for you pros out there. Let's go back again, see what else we've got in here. Oh, here, bio photos, and I use these in the webinar. So let's double click into this. These are photos for biographies, for about me pages and things like that, which we're going to create one of those a little later. Makes it easy for me to dive into those. We've got some videos that I've uploaded that I can display on the site, a slideshow for wedding clients, being more of a promotional type item. And also favicons. And I'm going to ask, might as well ask this here. Does anybody, raise your hand if you don't know what a favicon is. Let's see how that's going. The word favicon, does it ring any bells? Again, about half of you. So favicons are pretty easy. It's not complicated. These two are little favicons. There's BMW and the New York Giants. And they're tiny little files. You can use large files, but these are custom created by them, and I actually picked them up. They're branded. I'm not going to use them or anything like that, but to give you an idea. And also, where you see those is up here in the top, in the tabs. You see, if you can see this on your screen, there's a little Smuggy emblem there in my tab. And you'll also see favicons, and I've got a screenshot here to show you. You'll see favicons in your bookmarks. So if you use tabs across or you use bookmarks, you see here Smugmug, there's Google's favicon, there's Amazon. These should Chase, Adobe, Canon, Nikon. These should look familiar. That's what a favicon is, a small image, usually a 1-to-1 aspect ratio image that you can add in here, and we allow you to do that using the customization tools. So that's assets, and you're going to see how we work with them later. In fact, I'll do one more thing. I'm going to go into those webinar assets, not webinar. Nope. We're going to go into the website assets again, and I do want to show you those two slideshow galleries. So I have a slideshow gallery here, and it's a selection of photos that I have cropped into a 16:9 aspect ratio, and that I know will look pretty cool in a landscape view in a slideshow, and also on a full screen or full bleed background slideshow. But you notice that they're all the same aspect ratio. And here's a tip. When you're running slideshows, it's usually a good idea to use only landscape style images. The reason for that is if you use a portrait style image, let's see if we can go find one of those. In fact, I bet we can find one in the family galleries or something along those lines. Let's go. Well, yeah, you know what? Let's go back into that My First gallery. I know there's a couple of them in there. So here's a portrait style. This is what I mean by portrait style. And the thing about it is you see what happens here, just in this view. What happens is you end up with bars on the right or left side. And in order for us to fill the background here in a landscape mode, we have to spread this over here. We have to zoom in and spread this over here. So you'll get these edges will be over here, and then you end up losing the top parts of the photo. So keep that in mind when you're creating full bleed anything as far as backgrounds and so forth. And then also here, this homepage slideshow, and I'm just using this gallery in here. I just basically grab the photos that are in there. And if you look, I only pick the ones that are in landscape mode, and they're all pretty much the same aspect ratio. So they will all show the same as they transition. Just a couple of ideas, things to think about as you're going forward. If you put these together first, it's going to be really easy to grab them and assign them to things later, and you'll see how that goes there. Now, the next thing, I did mention this in the webinar yesterday. It's a really simple or basic kind of philosophy, building blocks. So when you are designing your Smugmug site, it's built with blocks, what we call content blocks. You drag a content block onto the page, you orient it in relation to other blocks, and then you decide what you want to show in them. So we're going to dive right in, actually, and we're going to just take a look at how some of those work. Starting with, let's zoom out. Starting with, let's go right into the customizer. So here's customize here, and we're going to go into content and design. The palette opens up on the left side here, and you can switch that back and forth with this little greater than and less than sign from left to right, depending on if you're working on a specific side of the page, whatever works best for you. And again, the first thing you always want to do when you go into a new design, and we'll show you designs later, but first we're going to work within them. When you go into a new design, there's a green bar across the top which identifies the name of that design and the settings for it. So let's go into the settings. And within the settings for any design, you can give it your custom name. Whenever you choose a new site design, in this case, this design, the basic design that you start off with is called Smugmug. And when you choose a new version of that, we'll put this in here titled copy of Smugmug. And if you do 3 or 4 of those, you end up with 3 or 4 copies of Smugmug in your list, and you can't tell which one's which, and you have to go see them. So if you give them descriptive file names, it's much easier to figure out which ones those are. And you'll see what I'm talking about. But here's Smugmug header. That's the header, the branded header that goes across. And all you need to do, if it's on, some designs it's automatically off, but if it's on in a design and you don't want it there, simply click the off button. And then the footer, which we see here along the bottom, the large footer, you can minimize that. You can move over to the mini footer, which is simply powered by Smugmug, and the login option if you're not already logged in. And you can change where that sits, centered, and so forth. Now, here's the favicon option. And we're going to add a favicon in there just for the heck of it so you guys can see that change out. So I'm just going to click on that there, and we'll just go into bio photos here. We're not going to go into site imagery. There's website assets, and we drill down. By the way, you folks, anybody doesn't understand how the picker works now? Raise your hand if you don't understand how the picker works, because I can review that as well. All right, no hands going up. So favicon, you click the choose an image, the picker opens up, you drill through all of your assets. Right now I'm going to go into, again, this is a good reason to have the folders for website assets. I don't have to go looking through all these folders and subfolders and galleries to find what I want. I go right into website assets, and then I know I've got the bio photos in here, which is where I'm going to pick from for the favicon. And we will grab, let's grab Caden today. We'll grab Caden's little photo right here, highlight it, click done, and click save. And we're going to stop right there and show you what that does. So we can click done right here, publish it. And once you publish it, you see, I know it's hard to see, but there's a little tiny Caden up in there. And if we go to the logged out version of the site, in fact, we'll just go back to the home page here. And you'll see that the navigation bar and branded bar has gone from the top, and the large footer on the bottom has come into just a powered by Smugmug and the option to log in if you're not already there. So that's doing that. Let's go back into the customize section. We'll go back into content and design. And we'll talk a little bit about these blocks. We mentioned them yesterday. By default, this particular design, every design is different, but this particular design comes with what's called the profile content block here. And you can see on my homepage, it says I have the profile content block and the folders, galleries, and pages block. So we give you a list of what you're going to see on that page. And this is your homepage. This is something else to keep in mind. You work on your home page, it's going to be blue. So there's blue and there's blue. If you're working on your entire site, in other words, right here, it's going to be red. And when you're working on your entire site, what you're doing is, in this case, when it comes to content, you are adding it to the header or to the footer. So it's going to be at the bottom of the page or at the top of the page. And then site content will be everything that's in between there, like the folders, the galleries, the photos, et cetera, et cetera. Now, speaking of content, let's run through what we have here. We have content here, theme, background, and layout. And I did mention this in the 101, but I'll go into it in a little more detail today. Content is stuff on the page. So you can add single galleries, multiple galleries, folders and galleries, pages, whatever you want. You can add photos. If I just wanted to add one photo into this page, I can do that by simply dragging a single photo out. Now, this is on entire site I'm working, but if I wanted to put a photo or a logo in my footer, drop that there, and then I'll just pick one. We'll come back to more details on this stuff, but you have slideshow options, carousel. The carousel is beautiful. I'm going to show you how that works later. Navigation is to build a navigation menu. You guys know what this is, the little bar at the top that says home, about, contact, and which in Smugmug's case, you would want to point that to galleries or client photos or landscape and so forth. Breadcrumbs, anybody not know what a breadcrumb is? Raise your hand if you don't know what a breadcrumb is. Breadcrumbs are really simple. It's actually pretty cool. Let's go into the print shop here. Breadcrumbs are these. You see them on websites all the time, and the deeper you go, the longer they get. And what it is, it's based on the Hansel and Gretel fairy tale. It's they as they went in deep into the woods, they could follow. So here's home. Here's actually follow the breadcrumbs to get home. Here's home. We're in the print shop. If I go into nature, now it's nature, print shop, home. If I go into wildlife, then we have nature, print shop, and we're in wildlife, nature, print shop, home, and so forth and so on. Now you can add or remove those from a page. If you don't need them there because you've done something for the navigation, you can remove them if you think they're noisy, or you can leave them for your guests, clients, customers, friends, and family. They also are handy removing to stop people from getting to other parts of your site. So that's something else to think of there. That being said, let's keep on going again. And I've stressed this in both webinars, clicking all the buttons. If I take the time to show you what each and every one of these things does, it gets a little long. So when you get in there, get comfortable by seeing what everything does. You can add videos to the page. You can do design things with add a logo, add a separator and a spacer. We'll show you how those work in a little bit. Text, you can add text boxes and titles, so you can put copy in there. Social, we did this yesterday. You can do the profile. Here's the profile content block. I took it off, right? Or I didn't take it off, but there it is right there. If I wanted, I can, just to give you an idea, here's the second one. I just dropped another block onto the page. And if I, there's no reason to do that, but you can move them around, and actually, funny enough, that looks kind of cool, but we're not going to go that way. So let's take one of those out. When you want to remove a content block, you simply click the trash can and off it goes. And I did show you guys this yesterday, but you can move any block on the page anywhere you want on the page in relationship to any other block on the page. We'll show you about that a little bit more, but you know what? Let's just go through, you guys go through all of this stuff. And this is advanced. We don't touch on this here, but you can actually add HTML and CSS, which is coding beyond what the 99% of the way will get you. Well, we'll get like 99% of the people who want to use us 100% of the way just with our tools. But if you want a little more, we do allow CSS and HTML. So if you're a developer or a coder, you can write your own. And also there's resources where pretty much just about anything you've ever thought you want to do with Smugmug, somebody else thought they wanted to do it before and did it. Thales is asking me to go slower, and Thales, I got to be straight with you. I gotta keep up. We got a lot to cover here, but hopefully you'll be able. By the way, Thales, I hope you're not trying to follow along with this while you're looking at your site. That won't work. But yeah, I'm sorry if I'm going a little too fast for you, but I do have to keep going. So please accept my apology for that. But we got to keep rolling through this. And again, in this section, I'm not trying to show you everything in here. I want you to just see that there's a lot in there that you should go look at on your own. All right. And Nancy wants me to slow down as well. All right. Well, I'll do my best on that. But I can't guarantee we'll get it all in then. So that's content. And we're going to show you, by the way, also, guys, this is an overview. We're going to come back and actually do stuff with this in a minute. But I want to just run through what everything is so you get an idea. Now, here's the theme. This is the theme tab. Now, currently, you guys remember we did the beach theme yesterday. That's the one with the little beach imagery in the background. And I mentioned that you can customize your own themes. Let's go back in here into theme. All you have to do to customize your own theme, for example, if you like the beach theme, but you wish the beach theme had a different font or a different color font or something along those lines. For example, right here, currently the font for the beach theme is Railway. Now, if I wanted to do, let's do something crazy that it's really obvious that I made the change. Here's Padua 1. So if I click on that, then it changes the font. This is, and by the way, this is the heading font, which is going to be there. And if I also change the body font, which is these, let's go back and do the same one. Let's go into, where's that Padua? There's a lot of fonts. Let's go down to P. There's a lot of fonts. LMNO. Oh, a little too far. Where did I find that? You know what, let's just pick whatever we pick so we can just see the change. So I'll go to, let's go to oxygen. So here's oxygen, and then you see these changed. So again, play around in there. And another thing that I'm gonna let you know, while you're playing around, if you ever go somewhere that you don't want to be, like for example, if I change this theme like this and I don't like it and I can't figure out how to get it back where it was, you can just click cancel on something like this and we'll remove all those changes you made. And if you drill too deep into your site and make changes and you can't figure out what you did or how to get back, always remember you can click done and you discard the changes. Don't save them, don't publish them, because then the what you had is gone. Discard the changes and it'll take you right out of the tool and erase whatever you had done while you were in there. And then you can go back in and start again. So let's go back into customize again, content and design. And you can, let's see, so we did theme there. And by the way, when you do create a theme, let's do that. Let's do that real quick. Let's just make our own theme. We're going to change that heading font from Railway to Overlock. Okay, so now it's at Overlock. You see it change there. And if you want to make that a new theme, here's what you do. You go back right here and you have to give the theme a name. So I've just edited Beach to have Overlock as the font. So I would make this Beach Overlock. Now I know what I changed there. And then I save it. And then it becomes Beach Overlock. And down here under My Themes, you can see that these are custom themes that I created off of our existing things. So there's literally an unlimited amount of your own themes that you can create there. However, I don't want to stick with Overlock, so I'm gonna switch it back to Beach, which I can do right in here. That's in background photos, and I go to Beach, and it comes back the way it was. All right, let's move to background. So using a theme, a lot of the themes have their own background. Sometimes it's a photo, sometimes it's a color, sometimes it's a pattern. If you want to put your own photo in there, you can use the background option. Now, the background option by default will be inherit from entire site. Entire site is currently set to the beach theme, so we get that beachy look. But if I wanted to change, let's say, my homepage background photo, I simply go to this menu here and I can change it to none, photo, video, or slideshow. Yes, you could put a slideshow back there, as I mentioned. In fact, we'll come back to that a little bit too, but let's put a photo in there we'll put a nice little photo in there. We'll start simply. Change photo. So here there's an option every visit. So if you pick a gallery that has 20 photos in it and you set it to change photo every visit, you pick the gallery and then every time somebody comes back, they'll see a different photo from that gallery. But in this case, we're going to leave it on never. Then here's the picker, go choose the photo. And if you have all of your work in a little area that you want to display, it's much easier to get to it. And in this case, you know what? We're going to go to the homepage slideshow, and I'm just going to grab one of the photos out of here. Let's grab this one of the color. It's a color festival out of one of the, I took those in Utah years ago. But there it shows up in the background, which is kind of cool. And then, in fact, you can preview it if you want to see what it looks like. Let's click preview. So there's a lot going on back there. I may or may not want to leave that photo, but I wanted you guys to see that you can add the photo in the background. Let's click exit and let's mess around with that a little bit, because one thing about when you put a full opaque background photo in, full opacity, it argues with the stuff in front of it and it makes it a little noisy. But you can do another little trick here, which is called masking. If you turn on the mask on this, you see how that changes it? It fades it out in the background a little bit. You can go darker or lighter. In fact, you can play with that. Let's go mask opacity, mask color. So there's auto. This is dark, and vroom, that'll get very dark right there. And then what's in front pops off the page. Here's light. And you can also change how much dark and how much light it gets. So this is low, and we'll just move right up to extreme, and you see it just almost completely washes out there. But play with this stuff and get a feel for it. I am not going to leave this photo on the home page for now because we're going to do something else later. But we'll just move that back to inherit from entire site. And then this section here, layout predominantly is going to have to do with widths, depths, and margins, how to bring things from one way to another. So for example, here's the margin. The top margin is currently set by default at 36 pixels. That's the distance from here to here. Okay, if I want a little more space at the top, I simply go to the top margin and let's make it 200 just to make a big jump there. And that pushes it down. We'll go back to 36. If I want my sides to go right up to the edge of the window, I can make the side margins 0, which will take them as far out as they can go. Or I can push them in a little more. Let's make that 100 and get a little more negative space on the outside, which will let people see the image in the background a little more. So that's just changing things up there. And again, there's a lot of stuff in here. This is basic design and introduction. So go in here and play with all the buttons, but I will let you know if you'd want to add a sidebar. Click this and you can build in a sidebar, put a navigation menu in there, a logo and along those lines. And a lot of our designs already have those. Let's turn that off. And lastly, over here, you could design in all folders, basically changing the design of all your folders. You can design in all of your galleries, changing the way all of your galleries look, or you can do that at the individual level, a single gallery outside the customization for the whole site by selecting just this gallery or just this folder, which we're not going to do just yet. But that's kind of an introduction to the tools over there. Have I slowed down a little bit enough there for you guys? And I want to do this right. That's why it's a beta webinar. So I'm looking for the feedback, and I do appreciate that. I was hoping I could move you along, but hopefully this is a little bit better. So let's click done, and we're going to discard changes, go right back where we came from, and here we are in here. Now, having shown you the introduction to the tools, let's go talk about designs themselves, the templates that you can use to build your site. So we start you off with Smugmug. Let's go into choose a new site design. Some of you have probably been in here before, and I do run through this a little bit in the 101, but these are my custom designs that I have saved, and I did make a point of this yesterday. We offer a couple of dozen different designs basically to get you started, but the reason for that is because we put them together in a way that you can hit the ground running. We've already done the initial groundwork for you. If we didn't do this, Smugmug blank, this is because you can take everything away. This is pretty much what things would look like. Actually, I guess I did a little work in there, but then you'd have to start adding your stuff in. So let's not do this one. That was a bad choice. And in addition to that, when you do build from a new design, we will save the design for you. So let's go do one of those from scratch. Let's just, yeah, you know what? Let's go do, here's Sierra. I like Sierra. We'll pick Sierra, click preview on this. Let's say you want to build a new design off Sierra. Well, here we go. We'll let you right in there. This will give you an idea of the layout. If you like it, you can click choose. See this? There's well, I'll get into that in a second. There's one of the photos you guys uploaded yesterday. There's my wife. Let's click choose, and we don't want to publish now. We want to customize it. We want to get things where it's going. There's that Yosemite shot somebody uploaded yesterday. Now that takes us into the design, and we want to start designing from this. See this photo right here? That's actually a portrait mode. So you can see the whole bottom. There's a portrait mode of Seth. So that's not really going to work. So here's a good point that I'm going to make here. This is a landscape photo. What you automatically see by default in designs when you start them up is, and I'll zoom in, when you're saying, why are they showing these pictures? Go to the background in the design on those pictures there. And when you look at slideshow, that's playing automatically photo source. By default, we source from your most recent upload. So when you see those photos, you're like, I don't want those there. Well, we didn't know what photos you want, so we just put the most recent ones there so you can see how it works. What you want to do with that is you want to go either photos I choose or go to pick a gallery or keywords or something along that. In this case, I've already created those galleries. We talked about that. So I create a gallery and then I go choose the gallery. And guess where I'm going to go? I'm going to go right into that website assets. I'm going to find that homepage slideshow that I built. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to click done. And then we hit 0. And now I've got images in there that are made to fit in this kind of a view. I don't have the watermark on them. I have them set to be able to display at a very high resolution so they don't have to get stretched out and grainy. This is a 30-inch monitor. So your photography becomes part of that. And we'll automatically pull in some information like Gone Rogue Productions. You'll remember that was what I had in my profile. And I already set up my social links in my profile. So we automatically pull the social links that you've set up there, in this case, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And then you can build from there. Now, the one thing here, this is home browse search. I'm going to zoom in so you folks can see this. Let's close that so you can see it. There's home, browse, and search. This is a default kind of introductory navigation menu, nav menu. And we don't know where you want to point people, so we have a couple of options in there that are pretty basic. Home is for your home page. Let me see if I can make that not covered. Home is for your home page. Browse will take your guests by default to the top level of your site. So what we're seeing in the old Smugmug design, the original Smugmug design, is clients, print shop, and my family galleries that are the only public galleries at my top level. Well, guess what? Browse would take people there so that it's not having to display on your homepage. And then search will take them to a search page where people can search for specific photos by galleries, folders, key names in the images, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, let's click done. Actually, no, let's not do that yet. Let's zoom back out. So you pick this new, wow, that's a great shot. You pick this design, whatever work you do or don't do in it. The first thing you want to do, as I mentioned before, is give it a descriptive file name. See, it's currently copy of Sierra because that's what I picked. We'll go to settings, and I want to change that from copy of Sierra to, and I'll just put SM 103. It's the design webinar. And I'm going to put the date in there so I'll know which date I did this. So this is 5. I keep thinking it's 4. 5 dash, what's today? 9? 5-9 -18. Okay. Now the Smugmug header in this design is on by default, so we'll turn that off. The Smugmug footer is on by default, so we'll go to mini on that. If you want to add the favicon within this design, you can do that. We'll click on that. We'll add that in there. We'll go to, let's go to website assets. And let's go to webinar bio photos. And instead of Caden this time, I won't pick on you, Seth. Instead of Caden, this time we're going to pick Sean Patrick. So let's pick Aaron. We'll grab Aaron there. Click Aaron, save. Now, let's say you're building this. It's going to be your next design, but you're not ready to publish it. You can click done and you can click save for later. We will automatically default back to the currently published site. And whenever you're ready to come back and continue working on that new design, you go back in there, you click customize, choose a new site design, and go find the one that we just made. So where's that? 103 Sierra, here, Sierra 103, 5/19/18. So I want to come back and start working on that. I click preview. There's where I left off. I click choose, customize, and I continue to work on that. And we're going to come back and do more with this later, but I want you to see that we save those designs for you. So click done on here, click close, oh, no, done, discard changes. In this case, I don't want to change anything. And then we're back to our main design. So coming back one more time into customize and choose a new site design. And I'm going to zoom out so you folks can see everything. So here's my custom designs, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I currently have 11 custom designs here. There's a couple of them that I don't want anymore, so you can delete them anytime. Let's get rid of the copy of Smugmug. Don't need that one anymore. Sierra 103, I'm using that. 103 SM, 103 Deco, 328 Deco. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. So you can delete the designs that you don't need anymore, don't want. Here's a February 18th that's built on Osiris. Let's go take a look at that one. See how that turned out. All right, now this one, you see how these images are in here? This design, this specific design, I'll zoom in a little bit, is also designed to initially pull your most recent photos, but in a previous webinar, I changed out most recent to this gallery of curated images that I knew that I wanted to display in there. Another nice thing about that, having the curated galleries, is the word curated, which is if you are tagging into a gallery, then all you need to do when you want to change what's showing up on the page, whether it's in a slideshow or in a multiple photo block or something along those lines, you add or remove photos in the gallery and it'll automatically update the display. Okay. Let's reload that page. Seth, are there any questions coming in that need to be surfaced at this point, or are we looking good on that?
No, mostly just individual questions. Nothing probably to be surfaced to the.
All right. Good deal. That gives me an opportunity to wet my whistle. Finally, and if I didn't make it clear yesterday again, because we will need to surface this in the future webinars, is you're never locked into the design that you choose. You can always add more. You can add them. You can delete them. It never costs you any extra to do that, and we will save all of your designs as they go. Now, that being said, let's get back out to, where was I? Actually, let's click done. Should take me right up, exit, and then done. There we go. It takes me right back to where I started before, and I can switch them up anytime I want. Now, what I want to do here next is, instead of building off a current design, I'm going to building off one of the more fancy designs. I'm going to build everything. I'm going to build a beautiful website right off of this basic Smugmug design by simply using our tools. And the reason I'm going to do this is I want you to know that we call them templates or designs, but unlike other services where a template is, here's a box, drop a photo in it. Here's a box, drop some text in it. Here's a this, put some this in it, and then you're kind of done with their layout.
You can change everything up on Smugmug. We're just giving you those design templates to get you started. But any one of those could be, with a few clicks, turned into any other one of those. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So let's dive in and do some customization on our whole site right here on this basic Smugmug design basic or foundation. So I'm going to go customize, content and design. And again, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. And we're working on the home page right now. So on the home page, we currently have this, this profile content block. Let's get rid of it. And let's get rid of the folders, pages, and galleries content block. Bye-bye. Remove that. Now I've got a blank slate to start with, which, so we're clear, does have the header and footer. Let me zoom out again, make sure we get the right zoom. When you're setting stuff up, it's really a good idea to make sure your zoom is correct. So we've got the header and footer for your entire site. We've already got the mini footer at the bottom from the other, and now it's a tabula rasa, except for this background from the theme. All right, what do we want to put on our homepage? What should we put here? Well, let's say the first thing we want to put on the site, the entire site, is going to be some information in the footer and the header. So let's put some information in the footer. We'll go down here into content. And in this case, I'm going to just grab a couple of items at work. We're going to go, let's go services. And let's grab Google Translate for those folks who have customers or friends or family that don't speak English for whatever reason. You can translate your site into anything you want, and I'm going to make sure that my whole site can be translated right in sight by Google Translate. So I'm literally just going to center this right here, and we're done. And that's on entire site. I would also like to put social icons on the whole site, so let's do that. Let's go to social. Let's find the social icons for pulling directly from my profile, and we just drag it onto the page and we drop it into the footer someplace in relationship to what's already there. Drop it in. Then my social appears above there. Guess what? You can mess around with these too. Let's zoom in a little bit. When you click on the little wrench here, you'll get the option, oh, and this can be moved. See that? You can move that out of the way. You get the option to give it a title if you want, find me or follow me, something like that. Follow me on. You know, that I clicked in Google Translate. Never mind, forget that. I needed to click on this one. There we go. Social icons, title, follow me on. And the title is setting up a little bit to the left there, so I just want to align it center. Just like that. Title size is medium. I think I'd like that a little smaller, so let's go to small. Let's be a little subtle. But I do have the option to change the way the icons look, so let's go to the display and the icon size. Let's bring them up to medium. Boom, a little bigger. Instead of square, let's go with round. Go to the circle icons. And then instead of accent color, which is the default for the site, let's go to branded right here, and it'll give me the branded colors for those. I'm zoomed in here, that's why it looks a little big, so they wouldn't actually look that big. So there we go. Now I put a follow me on social and also a Google Translate on my whole site. Now let's go into the header, and we're going to just go right in and build one of those navigation menus. Now to do that, you go to navigation and you grab the menu and you drag it right there up into the top of your site, into the header, and you drop it. The first thing you should notice, I got to zoom out again. Hang on a second. Zoom out. Let's grab the nav menu. And it did take. There it is. It's up there. The zoom messed me up there. There we go. It did take. So there's the navigation menu up at the top. And again, there we go. When I'm off it, you can see home, browse, and search there. The problem is when I mouse over it zoomed, it just disappears. So there's home, browse, and search. Home takes you to the home page. Browse takes you to the top level of your. In fact, let's just show you that. Click. You can click preview, and you can look and see what the work you're doing shows so far. So here's this large image in the background. Here's what we have in our footer, and here's our header. And there's no content in between, so they're kind of butted up against each other. But the home button will take you home, and the browse will take you to that top level in your organizer. And we're going to show you how to edit that too, because we don't know what you want to show there. We're going to show you that you can pull things out of this. You can decide what that shows. And then search takes you to a search page. But these are just defaults. So let's go exit. We zoom back in a little bit there. All right, now let's mouse over this content block here. And you can do it from here too. See, here's the menu. I can click the wrench there, or I can go right up here and click the wrench. I want to work on entire site. Here we go. Make sure I'm working on entire site. Go up here and click the wrench, and then the menu options open up for the navigation menu. The first thing I want to do is I want to center that. So we'll go alignment center. And I can change the text size if I want, but I can't tell right now because it's zoomed. So let's go to large just so that you folks can see it. We'll go to large, and that brings it up really big. And you can change the way this all shows, but I would like to just skip right down to this option for collapse for mobile. What this does is it means that because the site is responsive, if you've got 15 things across here, when you go onto a mobile device, they start wrapping. So if you don't want it to wrap on mobile or in a vertical view, you go to collapse for mobile, and that will handle that. Now let's edit this menu. Let's go links. Let's take the browse off, and let's take the search off. We'll just leave the home up there. But what are some of the things you might want to put in there? Let's click plus. And we talked about the contact form yesterday, which we removed from the footer when we went to the mini footer. So why don't you put it back in? We'll go contact. And instead of custom URL here, what we're going to do is links to contact form. Can everybody see that? That is the Smugmug contact form that we build for you so that you don't have to display your contact information, your email address to scammers and spammers and so forth. So there's a contact option. Super easy to do. Want to put another link in there? Click the plus sign. Let's put another one in. Now, we have a folder there called print shop so for you pros, instead of having to show that information like on a page where it's just willy-nilly there, you can link your customers to it. So print shop. And then what we want to link to here is a page I choose, and that's going to open up the picker when I click choose page, and I want to link to the print shop. So it goes right into my curated folder for my prints. Click done. And we're going to build a bunch of these. In fact, why don't we include sublinks on that just because I want you to see what that does. Let's bang a couple of these out really quick. So let's do one for family. I don't suggest marrying your family and professional sites together, but since we have half and half on these, we'll do both of them here. So we'll do family photos, and we'll link to a page I choose, and we'll choose page, and we will run right over here to my family galleries. Might as well also do the, I'm not going to include the sublinks on that, so you'll see we might as well also do the client page there. So we'll do plus clients. I want to get a lot of these in here so you guys can see what the collapse for mobile does too. So client section, links to page I choose page, and we'll go to clients, highlight that. In this case, we will include sublinks. And let's talk about other things you can do. So for example, you can link anywhere in the world you want that has a web address. So for example, you have a book that's up on Amazon. Well, you can click plus and say, buy my book. And then simply link to custom URL. And in this case, it is a custom URL. So you grab the URL from the sales page. In this case, I'm just going to write amazon.com, which would be the home page of that. And because I'm taking people off of my website, I want this to open up in a new tab. And maybe you have a blog over on WordPress or something like that. Well, let's link to the blog. Or Medium, that's a big one. We use Medium as a matter of fact. So let's go blog and custom URL. And for this, I'm going to link us to Smugmug's blog. So that's news.smugmug.com. And since it's going off my site, I will click on for that. And finally, because we can, and I've already built them, let's link to an About Me custom web page, which we're going to show you guys how to build later, but I've already got one built and ready to go. So let's do About Me. So we'll do About. And in this, we're going to link to a page I choose, and we're going to choose the page. And in this case, it's an actual page, and it will live in my website assets in a folder that I have titled Custom Website Pages. Here's a couple of them. We've built previous betas, but this is the one I use for the permanent one. So we'll just highlight that, and that's going to take us to a web page. More about this later, and we'll show you how to build it. But let's click done on this. So let's click done, and let's just publish it and see what we've got so far to the rest of the world. What have we changed? This is what we had, and this is what we now have. And I can send people to different places on my site without having to just show all the content down here at the bottom for them to click it. So let's click the contact option. That sets them up. It automatically populates with my profile cover photo. They would add their name, address, email address, their subject, and a message to you. Your photos are great. When they click send, you'll get that email. Here we have print shop, and I did remember I said show sublinks. So we have nature, portraits, arts and architecture, new releases and sports. And if they click nature, we'll take them right over to the nature galleries that are available to them. Here we have family. That takes us to those folders and galleries we all built together yesterday. Clients, school portraits and weddings. Let's go to weddings. That takes us into the weddings folder where we have those. Buy my book will take me into a new tab over to Amazon.com. Don't need to stay there. The blog, new tab over to the Smugmug blog in this case, but give that a second to load. There's our blog offsite. And finally, the about, which takes us to a page that I built, and I'll show you guys how to do this. But this is an about page that's built on the Smugmug. It's sitting right there. And one of the things I want you to notice here is this page inherits the entire design. All you do for building a page is you put in the items, the content that you want there, and then it gets superimposed on whatever your design is. So as you change your design templates, the page will change with them and automatically inherit all of that new information, the new look and feel. All right, let's go back home. Last thing I think I want to do here for the entire site is I want to change this background image. So let's do that. Let's go back into the customizer. You could leave this if you like. You can leave this on your whole site. In fact, let's first add some content in here between this so I can show you how that would actually work. That's completely zoomed out now. So essentially on my homepage, there's no content to split it up. See, it's basically header and footer. However, if I go into, let's say, print shop, into nature, now we've got content. So we've got the galleries sit there, and then if I go into the gallery, here's all the photos, and then all that stuff gets pushed down to the bottom automatically by the other content that's there. But there's no other content on the homepage. So there's things you can do here. We go into customize, we go to content and design. And essentially what I really want to do is put something in here that will push this down to here. There's a couple of options for you to do that. I'm going to stay at normal zoom here so I can see the actual spacing that I'm doing. One option you can put something in the middle there for those of you who have a logo. I have a logo here that I had made, and I use it here in the webinar. If I wanted to add my logo to this page, I simply can go on my home page. I'll go into, I can just grab it as a picture. So let's go to photos, and we'll grab a single photo, and we're going to drop that right in the middle here. And then we select a photo. Let's bring this over here. I'll go right to the picker. I don't have to do anything else there for now, but that's going to be in watermark images. And I think I'm using this one right here. I've already uploaded. I know this looks really small to you folks, so I'll zoom in a little bit there so you can see. So here's my logos in there. Let's just grab this one right here. Make sure that's the right one and click done. And that comes in super big there. Let's zoom back out and see how it actually looks. All right, let's use that. Let's just use that for the heck of it at this size. So let's click done on that. Now, one of the things I have here is this logo is battling with that background that's now a lighter color. So we'll probably want to work with that. And I do want to push this down a little further. So there's other options in here in the design section. Two things I can do. I can go into first option here, zooming in again so you folks can see in this section right here of any of the content blocks, you have what's called it's a square. It's an icon that's a square, but it controls the dimensions. So if I simply want more space above and below this, I can simply change the margins. So I can take the top margin and turn that to 250. That'll push it down. 250 is probably a little too much. Let's take it to 200. That's not bad. Take the bottom margin. Let's put that to 200 just to even it up. Let's click done on that. And I'm going to zoom back out to see how that actually sits in real size. And then I'm going to hit preview. Okay, now that actually doesn't look too bad. I could just stop right there, or I can adjust a little more up and down depending on how I feel. It's all up to you. Let's hit exit on this, and I'll show you another option for doing that, which also works with other kinds of content. This works really well because it's a transparency. But let's bring those margins back to where they were. So we'll take those back down to 12. And take that to 12. Then there's another option for spacing things out, which is literally the spacer. So let's come in here. One of them is a separator and one's a spacer, but that's going to be under design over here. And I think what we want is a spacer. So let's just bring a spacer out. You can drop spacers again anywhere in relation to the item you're looking to affect. In this case, I'm going to drop one below There's a little spacer right there. And let's give that the 200 pixels that we had before. There you go. And that puts a space in there, and I don't have to affect the other image. Let's click done on that. And let's preview and see how that looks. Pretty good. Now we need one on the top. Let's go exit. And we come back in here into design, and we grab another, nope, not separator. I want a spacer. Separator has a little line on it, so it actually makes a line of demarcation. Let's drop this one above, and we'll match the same pixels. I think we went 100 pixels. Looking good. Done. And let's click done and publish now and see what we've got. Coming back to the home page here. Home. There's our navigation menu. Home brings us back here. And there we go. Mike asked, how do we zoom in and out? So as far as that goes, it's command and control on any keyboard, depending on your operating system, command or control, and plus or minus. So command on a Mac, it's command, plus, 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 minus, minus, minus. That's actually will work on any computer, on any website. And I added the print shop the same way that I added all the other stuff, but I think Mike, Seth's got you covered there. So editing in the navigation menu, just go in there and play with it. It's pretty straightforward. It's easy to figure out. Now, what do I want to do here? Well, let's change our background photo here, or let's put a slideshow in there or something. We've got the whole site running with this theme. In fact, you know what else you can do? You can just change the theme if you want. But what I'm going to do is here, I'm going to put a different photo back here. In fact, I'm going to put a homepage slideshow in the background here. So let's go into Customize. Let's go into Content and Design. And I want to work just on the homepage. And I want to put a background in here. And instead of inheriting from the entire site, we're going to go with a slideshow. So it plays photos over and over. And I'm going to go into a gallery. We'll go into a source gallery here. We'll go into gallery, and then we'll choose the gallery. And yep, guess what? I've got in my website assets this homepage slideshow number 2. Let's pick that one and click done on that, and boom, the slideshow will start playing in the background there. Now, you can change the direction that these go. You can change the amount of time and the type of fade. So speed's currently set at 3 seconds. Maybe I want to go a little slower. Let's go to 5 seconds. You can change the transition. This is currently set on a fade. Test, there's a lot of options here. Here's a flip down. Watch what happens here. 5 seconds. Okay, that might make me dizzy happening there. But you can play with these and see what they all do. That's going to be the different ways that they transition from one to another. I'm going to stick with fade. You can do a transition speed. You can make it slower or faster between. You can set up a splash image, so it could just be a blank page that splashes with a single image or your logo. And finally, you can tell it to randomize within the gallery, which I think I'll do, and also masking. So right now, as I mentioned before, let's click done on this, and let's click publish now, and we'll see what we've got logged out. And then I'll explain to you what masking does again. I showed you the idea of not battling with what's in the foreground. So let's reload the page. Slideshow starts up. Now you see here, this is a dark image, a little busy down here, and these logos here get a little lost, although they pop against Iggy. Google Translate can be seen pretty easily there, but on that particular one, see the menu disappears in the darkness. So what you can do is you can either change the colors of all of these, but then if you're on a reverse image, you're going to end up having the same issue when it's a light photo. The easier thing to do is simply set a masking. You can also set bars that go behind them, but set a masking for these images so that they're not battling with what's in the foreground. So we're going to customize, we go into content and design, and we go on home page to the background, and we're just going to turn on the masking, and instantly we see what happens here. Now this is automatically going to a light wash. You can make that dark if you prefer, but in this case, since we have dark text up there, maybe we want to go light. And then maybe we want to change, again, this is all about playing with it. Let's change it to low. All right, this is nice. Okay, so a light opacity with a low application kind of makes it so that everything looks pretty obvious here off the page. I'm going to stick with that. Again, done, publish now. Again, play with this stuff. See what works for you and think about those images that you're setting up. So now what we have published is dun 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 dun. And if we go into our about page, we find we have inherited this entire, the theme. Now let's say we want to change the background for the whole site. You don't like this. All right, let's go do that. So entire site, we go back into customize. We go into content and design. And then we go into background, and we want to make sure we're on the entire site background. And in this case, we're going to choose a single photo, change it never, pick the photo. And I know what photo I'm going to use. It's here in my website assets, and it's the only one that's in the background image file because I only need one for the demo. So there's the file I'm going to use. Click done on that. Now I end up with another image that's going to battle with the stuff in front of it. So for this one, we're going to go masking on the dark side. So I'll turn the mask on, and let's go to dark, and let's make it high is too high, medium could be right, low is pretty good. Let's click done on that, publish now. All right, and as I move around my site, let's go into nature again. Now we have this image in the background on the whole site. Now, the last thing I'll point out is you'll see that the beach scene keeps popping up at the beginning. That's because that's our theme and everything builds on top of it. So if you would prefer to avoid having that happen, you can go into customize, you go right into content and design, and you can edit out that theme so that it doesn't have that background. If you want to stick with beach, but you would rather the background wasn't a photo, go to advanced and see the background graphics sitting right there. You can take it out. And we can go back to basic, give it a new name. We'll call it beach, no BG. Done. Done. Ooh, I just did that on all folders too, didn't I? That's all right. That'll be cool. So all folders has no BG, and you see the beach theme doesn't come up. It will still come up on home because I didn't change it on the home page. That's one of the things. You have to watch what you're working in there. That's a good mistake for me to make so you folks can not get bit by it, although I get bit by it every now and then anyway. So let's go back into content and design. And in the same way, it's really easy. We've already built the custom theme right there. It's going to be BG no background. And in this case, I don't want to have it on just all folders or just my homepage. I want it on the entire site. So entire site, we're going to apply the new background that we just created, and we click done and publish now. And that's it. That background won't be there anymore. Comes right in. And if I reload the help page, the about me page, we now see that it accepts the new background. And that is designing a site from scratch. You can take all of this stuff that I just showed you and apply it to any of our design templates. Mike, I'm sorry. I'll tell you what, Mike, email me after. Seth, this is just going to be between Seth, get Mike's email address and give it to me after, and we'll have a little talk there. Any questions, other questions coming in that I didn't see popping up there, Seth, that I should hit, or let's go build a page?
I think we can move on to build a page.
All right, let's go build a web page. So let's go into the organizer. Now, web pages operate a little bit differently than standard design and other pages on your site, custom web pages on Smugmug. The idea being is when you have a gallery, it's already got content on it. That's the gallery title and the photos and the breadcrumbs and whatever else might be there. If you're in a folder, other folders and galleries that show. If you're on your home page, whatever's on the home page, depending on how your customization went. But web pages are custom pages that you can build yourself from scratch. Very similar to what I just did with that Smugmug design where I removed everything and then started layering new stuff in there. So let's zoom in a little bit. We'll go into webinar, website assets. This first folder that I have here is a collection of web pages that I've already built in previous betas. The About Me perma is what you just saw. In fact, I might as well remove some of these. They're old and dated, so let's just delete those guys. And what we want to do here is build a new page. Now, here's the thing about pages. Pages have to be created first, and then you have to go to them on your site so you can build them. You can't customize in the organizer. It's simply it's one of those if this, then this. So what we want to do is be in the website assets folder, in the custom web pages folder, and I'm going to put a new page in here by clicking create. This is where you create folders. This is where you create galleries. And this is where you create pages. We simply click it. We get a new page to create. Let's give it a title. And what are we going to call it? We're going to call it About Us. And we'll give it today's date so that I know that it's the About Us from this webinar, 05/09/18. Now you can set that to unlisted or private or whatever. Private isn't a good idea if you want anybody to be able to see it. But when it comes to pages, you can pretty much create the page, and then what you have is a blank slate to work on. So here it is, 05/9/18. Let's double click into it. There's nothing there, but we'll tell you, not feeling where this page currently lives, you can move it somewhere else. To customize this page, visit it on your site. And boom, here we end up on a blank page that is simply having the other items that are already on your site. So the header, which is that's your header, that's your whole navigation menu. Your footer, and I'm zoomed in here, guys, that's why everything looks big. Your footer, which currently has the select language option and the follow me social options. And then the only thing we start a page off with is the breadcrumb. And the reason we put the breadcrumb there is so that you'll have, not that you need it, but it helps to know that there's something there. This is something that you can drop another item onto the page in relation to the breadcrumb. So above it, below it, next to it, on either side of it. You can remove it if you want later, but this gives you a starting point. So let's, how do I make that? Escape. I don't know why I've got this. Am I frozen up? Seth, am I still here?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just a little lag. There we go.
Okay, and I reloaded the page there, so I got rid of that. So let's go into customize on a web page and build this new page. So customize, now you can change your page settings, you can change the theme on the page, and you can content and design, which lets you start building on the page. And we're going to build on just this page the same exact way we just built on the home page previously. And I'm going to run through this little fast, Mike, because we already showed you how to put stuff on the page, and I'm going to put a lot of stuff here, but you're going to see how this works here, okay? So let me zoom out so that I can see this is the actual size. See, there's nothing here, and there's only this amount of content separating the header and footer. So what we want to do is build an About Us page, and we're going to put some photos on here, and we're going to put some text on here, and then I'm going to totally put them on in a mess, and then I'm going to rearrange them and make them look nice there. So what do we want to do on the right side? And here we come back to the zoom in so you guys can see. We're going to want to put some text there. So let's go down to content, scroll down to the blocks, and let's find text. And we're going to grab some text. And we're going to drop that text right here somewhere in relationship to the breadcrumb that's sitting on the page. We'll put it above it because that's really a mess. Now, I'm not going to make you folks watch me sit here and type 5,000 words. I've got some blurbs already typed up, and I'm going to start copy and pasting them in there. We're going to grab Seth first. Hello, Seth. Seth's got a little blurb here. We're going to paste it right in here. If I grabbed it properly, let's copy it again. And let's try that way. Okay, guys, I'm having copy and paste issues here. So here's Seth. And I right-click copy, and then I Control V. There we go. All right, so there's Seth's text, and it instantly will appear across that box as we have it there. Now you can do some fun stuff with this. We're going to center that text. We're going to align centered. So we highlight it, and I'm going to click this little Justify Centered here, and you'll see it lines up there. We'll give Seth a let's give Seth a line break where he should have had a comma. I teased him about that earlier. In fact, we're going to put the comma in here. So married to beautiful wife, comma, and father of 2 rambunctious young boys. All right, that's good. There's some text there. Let's click done on that. So we got some text up. Easy to do. What else do we want to do? I'm probably going to want to end up changing the background on this page so that that text shows up better, or I'll want to change the color of the font to contrast better for this particular design. But for now, let's just get everything up there. So we hit plus. Let's get some more text up there. This time we're going to drag a text block up, and we're going to drop it below the About Us. And the person who will be called out here is going to be Caden, who is not here with us today because the turnout is not as strong for 103 beta because we don't invite that many people, and it's a little last minute. We know that, so let's highlight that. Let's justify him center, and we'll give him a line break if we can find a good paragraph for that. Yeah, we'll do this one. He gets a line break there. Done. Here's another box of text. And you know what? I'm going to change that background just on this page for the simple reason that I want you folks to be able to read this while we go. So I'll go in here. We're working on just this page. Let's go into the background, and we'll make it, well, actually, I guess I want to go for, let's go to theme. Let's go to beach with back. How do I want to do this? That's inheriting. Oh, yeah, photo. So we'll do photo. And we're going to pick the same photo. We're going to change the masking on it. So I'm going to go into website assets, and I will go into the background image. We're going to grab the same image. There it is. And instead of having it justified masked to dark, I'm going to mask it to light. So it's the same style, but it works with that, with the current designs text there. So we're going to turn on the masking, and we'll go light. There we go. And we'll take that to high. Nope, high's too much. Let's go low. Okay, that works really well. So there, we just changed the masking on the background of this image. Let's continue on with content. Well, that's text. Let's grab some more text. Let's grab text, and we'll drop this text next to the other text. We're going to start speeding this up now. And for this one, we're going to grab Anne McRae, who is a beautiful photographer and a wonderful person. And Anne works with us here at Smugmug, and I'm going to actually put in some information about Anne's site there. So what we're going to do is, instead of just leaving this URL here, and you can see where we'll automatically be able to click that, I'm going to link that into Anne's, right into the words. I'm going to create a hot link here. Check out Anne's Smugmug website. We highlight it. We click this little link button. Hopefully you guys know what this is. This is basic web type stuff right now, but yeah, I don't want the paragraph thing there. Let's make it open in a new window and add link. There we go. That should work for that. I'm going to take off that little dash, and we will also justify Anne here. She's justified. Click done. Now we've got 3 text blocks. You can see me mousing them over them there. Let's do one more text block. We'll do me. We won't do Aaron today. Let's grab Sean. And we're just going to copy that here, and then we'll go over and grab one more text block. I'm going to drop that right above the other text block, right above Seth. I'll put myself at the top. Sorry, Seth. Paste that right in there. We'll justify that centered, just like that, and we'll click done. All right, now I got 4 blocks of text plus some breadcrumbs. Let's get some photos on here. So what do we want to do? Let's go to photos. We'll grab a single photo of, let's start off with Anne. And we're going to drop Anne's photo right up here at the top. And Anne has a tiny little bio photo that we have for her. We got the photo. We have to go select the photo. So we click the picker. It opens up. I know in website assets, under bio photos, we have a lovely picture of Anne here in a 1:1, 100 aspect ratio. Not very large, but that'll work. Now, if I want to, I can make that go somewhere too. So for example, I've got that link to Anne's galleries over here. Let me just go and grab that. I already embedded it into her web address, but check this out. If I want action on click, go to URL, and I can send people, if they click on her photo, I can send them right to her site. And yes, and again, I want to add that in a new box. So there's a cool little option. You can edit what the photos do. Let's add another photo here. Let's grab Seth. So coming out with a single photo, and we're going to drop this down below this, and we're going to add a photo of Seth down in here. I think I missed that. Let's try it again. Single photo. Oh, no, I got it. There it goes. And we're going to go photo, and we'll click on the picker, and let's go get a shot of Seth. We'll go into website assets. We'll go into webinar photos, webinar bio photos. Here's Seth and his beautiful family. Boom. There they are. That's a good size shot. In fact, I'll be kind to you on this later, Seth. All right, so there's a great shot of Seth, but that's huge. Let's go get a shot of me. So we'll go into single photo, and we're going to drop this up in between Sean and Seth, and we're going to go single photo. We just click on the picker, and I'm getting near done here. Website assets, webinar photos. Here's Sean. And we'll grab one with me and the boy. No, I'll just grab me. There's me there. All right, and we're not going to put anything in there. So for now, let's click done and publish. We don't have to. We can preview this, but I want to just publish it now, and we'll take a look at what the mess we've got here. that we're going to want to fix. But yeah, there's stuff all over the place. Here's a photo and a text and photo and text. Here's a breadcrumb living over there. We've got a little bit about Ann here with a link. Here's a big shot of Seth and his family. And here's Caden, who's not with us today, but we want to make this look a lot better. So check this out. We'll go back into customize. You can do this while you're there, but I wanted you to see what you end up with. Content and design. And as I mentioned, it's drag and drop. These are all blocks. You just build them as you want. So let me zoom in one more time. And one of the things I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to layout. And currently the width on the page is 960 pixels. I want a little more room. I don't want as much negative space on the left side. So I'm going to take that up to 1200. Actually, no, I'm not even going to use the width option. I'm going to use the margin option. So let's go side margins, and let's take the side margins to 100. That's not enough. So let's take the side margins to 300. That's looking good. Now I'm a little wider there. Now what else would I like to do? Well, let's take Ann's photo and move it using the move tool right down next to Ann's text. Now she's living there. And let's take Caden's. Oh, we need a picture of Caden, don't we? Well, let's get a picture of Caden. We'll add that in. So what else do I want to do? I want to go content on this page. I'm going to grab another single photo. Oh, sorry. I want to go down to add content block, and we want photos, and I want a single photo. We'll drag that on. We'll drop Caden right next to me just for the heck of it. And we'll do the picker, and we'll go into website assets, and let's go find Caden. I know he's in there. We got a great shot of Caden right there. Actually, he'll be happier if I choose that one. There's a great shot of Caden. Okay. All right, good stuff. Caden's going to love that. Done. Now we got stuff all over the place here. So let's get Caden's information and drag it up next to Caden. Obviously, if you're building this on your own, guys, you probably want to think about that as you're going, but I'm completely and intentionally mucking around with this so that you can see how easy it is to fix it if you go wrong, or you can do it just about any way you want to there. So here's Caden. Now, here's one of the things I'm going to want to do. Caden's photo is really big, and I don't have a lot of text there for him. So let's go into Caden's photo. And instead of doing photo size 5th width, let's do photo size medium. Take it down a little smaller. That's a little better. Let's do photo size small. Yeah, that fits nicely. Done. So now we've got Caden in his text. There's me. Where's my text? So here's Sean up here. We'll drag this down and we'll drop it on the other side so we get a little back and forth. Let's get rid of this breadcrumb completely. Why? Because we don't need it. Why don't we need it? Well, we've got this navigation menu up here that'll take me home. I don't need the breadcrumb to get home. And let's take Ann and put her picture on the left there. And let's take Seth's photo and move it next to Seth, and we'll make him the king of the hill here at the, we'll just put him right there. Oh, I think we got to go that way with Seth. And then we're going to go this way with Ann. I think Ann should be at the top because ladies first. So let's put Ann's picture up here. And let's move Ann's text up here. And there we go. Now we've got a nice layout. Now you're going to want to do a little design option here. This looks a little close at the top to there. Maybe you want to do a little bit of a separator or something there, so we can grab one of those, or you can adjust the top margins. In this case, we'll use one of the spacers again. So let's go down to design, grab a spacer, and we're just going to drop it right above Ann's photo, which gives me this little option here. And then I'm going to make that, let's make that 100 pixels. So we'll go into dimensions, container height. Let's go to 75. Let's see what that does. 75 looks pretty good. Let's go to, yeah, I like 75. Maybe we want to put some photos on the page completely. So let's get some sample photos down here at the bottom. Now this is, I mentioned I would show you what the carousel is because I think the carousel is really cool. You can do multiple photo blocks. You can do a carousel slideshow. I'm going to drag a carousel down here, and the carousel is essentially, it's kind of like a scrolling slideshow. So we're going to drop that right in there. And for this slideshow, we have a gallery set up already. We're going to choose the gallery. We will go into, let's go into print shop. Let's just, in fact, I'll use one of my actual ones from the site here, one of, just to be, not, you know what, they're all watermarked. I'm not going to go in there and use those. We'll use the ones that we meant to. So it's website assets. And in this case, we'll use that homepage slideshow gallery in the 16:9. And that will automatically populate that in here. And I think I want to make that a little smaller. I don't want it to fight on the page, so we'll knock that down to a 25%. That'll make it small, and those will start to scroll across. And we'll click done on that. And I think the last thing I would like to do is I have more cushion between these guys. In fact, you might want to put just a separator between everybody. But I think in this case, I just don't want this carousel sitting right on top of, right below the beautiful picture of Seth. So for that, I'll go mouse over the carousel, and I'll mouse over the dimensions. You have a lot of options for doing things. And I'm just going to add a little bit into the top and bottom margins so there's just some separation there. So we'll make that 25. Pushes it down a little bit. We'll make the bottom one 25. So we push that away from the footer a little bit, and we'll call that a day. I think we got a nice little, what do you think of this, Seth? A little different?
Yeah, it's coming along.
Yeah. Let's click done and publish it now. So here we are. We've got a beautiful new About Us page. In fact, I think what we'd probably want here is there's an item called pin the header. We can do that so that it doesn't scroll down like that. It's probably pinned now in this design. So let's fix that. Customize, content and design. Getting tripped up a little bit there. Under layout. Seth, by the way, if you remember, because I haven't done a pin the header in a while, if you remember where I find that, I will be grateful to you.
I thought it was in the layout, but
I bet it's in
I
the
don't think
theme. I bet it's in the theme. Here we go. Background graphic, background color, header section, footer opacity, body opacity, all sorts of stuff in here. Basic. No, it's not there. And you know what? I don't remember where pin the header is. And what we want to do is we want to unpin the header so it scrolls, so it's not coming down across our content. If anybody really wants to know how to do that, you can just go to the help page and look it up, pin the header, and the help page guide will come with that. But we really, I'm going to know this for next time, but we really don't have time to go looking for that right now. But let it be known that this option here is a scrolling header, and what we want to do is we want to change it into a pinned header. In fact, I'm going to try one more shot. I'll go to entire site. Yeah?
Yeah, it's under entire site layout. It'll be at the bottom.
Layout in here, in the footer, in this?
So cancel out of that.
Okay.
Go back to entire site. Yeah, and now layout tab.
Oh, it's in the layout section. I can't just change it on the single page. So I was in the right place. Here we go. Okay, so entire site, layout, pinning, and there's a section. Pin the header? No, thank you. Turn that off. Thanks for looking that up, brother. Done. Okay. And you know what? Let's just publish it now because we've got that. And now what we've done is we've stopped it from being pinned. So when you scroll, it all scrolls down together. Yeah, pinning is good if you don't have content that's going to actually get messed up by being covered by it. There we go. Now, the last thing here we want to do, is we would like to change out this about, because we're using this about right now. So here's how you can edit your about a link in a navigation menu once it's up there. So it doesn't matter what page you're on, just go into customize, content and design, and here's the key. You guys, just like I had with the pinning thing, you want to make sure you're working on the entire site, because this is one of the items on the entire site. You want to change it on the whole site. So we just mouse over the bar here, click on the wrench, up comes our links: home, contact, print shop, family, clients, buy my book, blog, and here's about. I don't want to trash about, I just simply want to change what it points to, and that'll work for any link. So in this case, instead of the page I choose being the About Us previously made, we want to make it page I choose, pick one, we go back in here, we go back into website assets, into the custom web page folder, and we pick the latest one here, which is the Smugmug. There we go, 5/9, that's the one. That's why you give them dates. And you click done, and you click done, and you click done, and you publish now, and we've changed it up. So let's reload and take a look. Home. Beautiful. Let's go to About. Takes us into the new page we just built. Dun, 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 dun. Looking good. Okay, that's building a page. Now, there's two other things I want to cover, and we've got time. I'm a little slower than I wanted to be, but we do have time to cover them. And I want to show you guys how to customize in folders and galleries, and also would like to, well, actually, that's it. Customize within a folder and within a gallery. Seth, I'm going to take a quick sip here. Any questions coming in?
Not that necessarily need to be surfaced to the entire group. A
Okay.
lot of good questions, of course.
It's Mike. I'll get in touch with you after. I got you. Okay. Mike's not having an easy time of it here, but we'll take care of you, Mike. Okay. Let's go back to our home page. And what we want to do here is talk about, I want to zoom out again so we can make sure we're looking on the right side. What we want to talk about is what galleries and folders look like within. So for starters, and what the content there is. So let's go into that. Let's go into family here. Now this will apply to the print shop or anything like that. But we're going to go into family. And what we see here is automatically this folder, this one we selected to point to, is by default, it shows everything that's in that folder that's public. Now that might not necessarily be available to the world, but the content is in there. Let's go back into the logged out version so we can have a look at that. Go into family. Here we go. All right, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 galleries sitting in a folder and 4 galleries, and here I have a folder and 1, 2, 3, 4 galleries. So this is the same, but the thing about it is maybe you've got 20 other galleries in here that you don't want to show to the world, and you simply have them set to unlisted. Well, the world won't see them, and that's cool. But also, you can customize what does show there. So for example, let's go into the print shop for that. I currently in the print shop am showing nature, portraits, art and architecture, new releases, and sports. Let's say I didn't want to show sports anymore, but it's sitting there, but I want to keep it public. I just don't want it displaying here. Customize, content and design. And in this case, we're going to make this folder custom, just this folder. Now I'm working on this folder only. And what I want to do is I want to edit the content that shows in here. Now, we automatically show by default everything that's in the folder. The great part about that is it lets you add or remove stuff from the folder within your organizer, and that automatically edits it on the public side of the site and also on your site side. However, there may be instances where you don't want to do that. You simply want to show certain things in a certain area from other areas of your site instead of an entire folder. In that case, what you can do is simply just this folder and then click on the little wrench here. And I'll zoom in again so you guys can see what's going on there. Click on the little wrench, and then you get the option to start displaying what you want to display and also how it displays. So here, let's run this through. Select from current location as the default. So in this case, the current location is my print shop folder, and everything in the print shop folder is being displayed here. Let's say I wanted to pull the print shop galleries from different parts of my site and not have the folder or add and remove things using this. So instead of select from, I would change that to items I choose. Aha. Then they all go away, and I go back into choose items, and I start picking what I want to show there. So let's drill into print shop. So I have maybe I don't want the new releases to show, and I don't want sports to show. I just want the arts and architecture, nature, and portraits. So click, click. Maybe in portraits, I double click into that. I only want Elena showing. Okay, so you can pick and choose. So let's even do that. Instead of showing all of these, let's go into arts and architecture. I want to find one with multiple. Nature. Load, please. Went back and forth too many times. Here we go. So here's one that I don't want to show. I don't want to show QS, the tests from yesterday. So I only want to show Animal Planet. I want to show Landscape 1, Water, and Wildlife. That's all I want to show in the print shop, let's say. Well, I can just show those 5. Done. And those 5 will be all that shows up. Just 5 galleries out of an entire folder that I've chosen to show in this section of my print shop. And you can use that to keep a rotating inventory. So when people come back, things change up a little bit. In addition to choosing what you want to show in there, you can also just change how it shows. So currently what we have here, the layout is grid. So there's options here. You can go vertical. I'm not a big fan of the vertical, but it is something that some people like. Collage portrait. which we're familiar with from, or collage landscape, which we're familiar from the galleries, the way they show, that'll start shifting them around. I'll stick with grid here because that kind of looks right. And I'm also zoomed in here. So we'll stick with grid. Go back to that. But in addition to that, you can also change the aspect ratio. So, and have fun with this. If it's all portraits, watch this. If you go 1:3, you're going to get them tall. They're going to show up like that. And you can change the size of them. So if you want them to fill the screen more, you can make them extra large so they come right across. It might even double down. Ooh. All right. And you can also, let's go into the display. And I'm just making changes as we go here, just playing with the buttons. You guys need to do this on your own, but spacing between the photos, the images, the gallery images. So we'll take that up to 36 and give them a lot of negative space between them so they pop off the page. Showing the icon. So in every gallery, and every folder, there will be a gallery icon and a folder icon. If you don't want to show that, you don't have to. Makes it a lot cleaner just to have the titles there. You can change the titles to display in the middle. In fact, let's go back to a 3:4 aspect ratio just because it's a little easier for us to see it here. So we'll go back to, I think it's a 3:2 or 4:3. And let's try the 4:3. 4:3. Yeah, 4:3 is a good aspect ratio. Now I'm zoomed in, so I'm going to zoom back out again and see how they're actually sitting on the page. They're looking a little bit large. So maybe we want to go back to from extra large photo size down to large. Let's see how that looks. All right, that's cool. Large is working well for me there. So now I've got a nicer layout. If I want changing, I'm going to have to stay zoomed out here because this is design aspects. Showing icons off, info style, bottom bar. That's across the bottom here. But what if I wanted it to be on top with a little activity, a little invitation to come and look in the gallery? Well, I can move the bottom bar to covering or under. So we can move it under. That'll take it off the image and put it below, or I can make it covering right here. That puts it over the image and makes the image a little bit opaque so that the words pop off it. You can take that even farther to tell us what you want the information to do when a mouse hovers over it. So in this case, you can have it go off, you can show it, or you can hide it. So off would mean nothing happens, show it means there's nothing there and it appears, or hide it means it goes away and you can see the image. I'm going to choose that one. And if I click done and publish now on that, in a very quick and easy way, look at how I've changed what the print shop looks like. We'll click into print shop. And now the print shop shows Elena, Animal Planet, landscapes, water, and wildlife. And if I mouse over them, because it's hiding the info on mouse over. So there's an invitation to head into that gallery. So that is how you can edit the content that shows on a specific page or folder. You can add or remove, or just have it go to current location. And you can also change the way it displays. Height, width, depth. You can change the aspect ratio of the preview images, and you can change how the information is displayed about where people are going on that. Is that sinking in there, Seth? Because I'm going to move into gallery now.
Yeah, I think so.
Right,
you'll probably mention it, Sean, but just in case we run out of time in that, wanted to mention that, we realize that some of this might be a little bit more difficult for some than others, and Sean and I spend all day, every day on websites here, so it's easy for us to sometimes get ahead. So we've put together that handout, which has some awesome resources, so definitely download that, use those, and the support heroes are available around the clock and are more than happy to help if you get stuck with some customization stuff.
Good information, good intel. Thanks for sharing that. I'm going to take it. Somebody must have said they have to get going or something, because we are just about to hit the 90-minute mark. I'll also point out that there's some resources for getting more information on this, which is there's some developers and designers who share their customizations very freely and easily, and also there's a huge support forum called DGrin or Digital Grin. It's www.digitalgrin.com. Mike, you don't have to write it down. It's all in that handout. Just download the handout. All of this information is going to be in there for you too. But that's a great resource for getting more information and help and support. And how do I do this? It seems to be beyond. And as Seth mentioned, always the customer support team is on 24/7, there to help you out if you get stuck on something. All right, one last item I'm going to show you for those that you can stick around. I did mention I would try to show this to you guys yesterday. I did slow down a lot, so I'm a little behind, but here we are in a gallery of photos. And as you folks, I'm logged out. That's the logged out version. So let's go into it logged in. I'm going to wildlife. And while we were in wildlife and in the 102 webinar yesterday, we showed how to optimize for sales, but this also kind of works really cool for just showing your own photos. I mean, I use this functionality for every one of my galleries that I share with my friends and family, because you can improve the way these, as beautiful as this is collage landscape, as beautiful this is, you can create an even nicer experience for your guests if that's your style by simply making a few adjustments in the customization. Now, the first thing you got that you can see the site-wide image, the background photo, and so forth here. But if I go into customize on this page, and I go into just gallery style, you can change up the way the style is by simply clicking some of these. This is really easy to do. So if you don't like if you're not a fan of the collage landscape, just change the style to what we call Smugmug. You get thumbs on the left and large images on the right. There's a bunch of other ones in here. There's one called Journal. Here, let's go look at Journal. Journal will set up large images that you can scroll down through, which will have the titles, captions, and keywords off the images. And that works as well. In addition to doing that, let's go back to customize gallery style into collage landscape, which was the default for this particular gallery. All right, so now that this is here, in addition to that, you can customize within the gallery. So for example, in fact, let's do one last thing. I want to change this this cover photo in case you didn't know what this is the cover photo, and if it's on, we will automatically choose the initial photo in the gallery, which was when I created it, this photo. We've added this later, but let's go into gallery settings and let's change up that. So we go into appearance. Okay, in gallery settings, appearance, and then here's the cover image. It's on, and I want to select one. I want to choose a specific one. And we are going to pick, you know what? I like the leaves. Let's just go with the green. The green will look great there. And there we go. That's beautiful. All right. Now, what can we do with these images? Well, if we go into customize, content and design, and again, making this gallery custom, you can do all of your galleries like this in one shot, but that's going to do every gallery on your site, and you may or may not want that. You need to think about that. But if you just want one gallery to look like something, you move it to make this gallery custom. You click it, we'll ask you, do you want to make it custom, removing it from your site-wide customizations? You say yes. Then when you're in there, you'll see that it's green, and when all changes that you make in here will only be made here in this particular gallery. That being said, once you're in there, you can just click on the box, or you can click on the the little wrench right there. We're going to click on it. I'm going to zoom in again so you guys can see. Click on the wrench, and we open up the gallery styles. And in this case, we're in collage landscape, so we want to customize in collage landscape in this gallery. And then you get all those options that we saw before on the folder page. So you can turn the breadcrumb on or off. This little option right here, if you want to turn that off, you can do it. Spacing between the photos, you can increase that and give it a little more room. So let's say 36 pixels, just to give it a little more negative space between them. Photo size, if you would like, you can make it so that they see larger thumbs right off the bat. So instead of small, you can take that up to medium or large. Let's go to large. Nope, large is too big. I'm zoomed in, but let's go to medium. That'll probably look a little bit better. Varying the photo height if you like, let's do that. That'll change that up a little bit. Info style, the bottom bar, you can switch it to under or off. So let's switch it to under, and then you can see the titles and captions that may be there, and also the shopping cart menu pops up for that. And again, I'll do this for you pros. Let's just scroll down here, and instead of having the little shopping cart icon, button style, let's change that to buy. Let's change it to a buy button. Then every single one of the images has a buy button next to it. And we'll leave that small. And I think for the color, instead of emphasize, let's make it default. Let's try accent. I don't want to make it too obvious. No, the blue looks pretty good there. Let's leave with that. And play around in there, because look what we just did to this gallery. I'm going to click done. Before I publish, let's go. Well, here's the gallery. There we go. Let's click done and publish now, and let's go take a look at how that changed for our guests logged out. So this is what we had, and then we reload the page, and this is what we end up with. It's subtle, but there's some great stuff going on there. All you have to do, and that lets you change the way things look. Okay, and that is the wrap on design. And I will tell you this, Seth mentioned it, and I will reiterate it. It's Seth and I are good with this, not because anybody's trained us, but because we play with it all day. I mean, we started off as customers and we love the site, we love the service, and you just get in there. We use it all the time. But it's like any piece of software, any editing software that you pros have, if you get a new lens, you're not good with it the first couple times you use it. You got to use it to get used to it. It's like riding a bicycle or anything else. By using it, you will become familiar with it, and it will become like second nature. And maybe you don't need to be as good as Seth and I are, but it's not hard to get someplace amazing. You can do it. You just might take you a little bit longer than because we already know where things are. Now, that being said, I really hope, and on behalf of Seth and I, we really hope this helped you guys. In addition to that, as far as it goes, we thank you for taking part in this. There's a little questionnaire on the way out. We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on it. I know I go fast. We did that in the day before and so forth, and we're still trying to figure out how much we have to put in and so forth. For you, Mike, you and I are gonna talk after this. I'll get you helped out there. But for everybody else, if you got any questions, always remember this: while you're logged into your account, you can click the support option right here. You can search for help on anything, and there's help guides and help pages for that. And if you get lost, you can go right down here, show this here. You can chat with a hero if you're logged in as a pro account user. If you have a pro account and it's during business hours in the USA, you get live chat. And also just emailing us, you can get us through that, help@smugmug.com. And I'm going to go into the support center right here. You can also search through our help pages. And as always, if you get stuck, before you get to the point where you're tearing your hair out, contact us. For those who haven't already, you will be amazed at how quickly our support team will get back to you. I mean, we're talking 10, 15 minutes, not 3 or 4 hours or 2 or 3 days. So by all means, take advantage. We have some of the best support in the world and on the internet. Seth, how you doing there? Should we call it a day?
Yeah, I think I'm good if you are.
All right, I'm great. Hopefully you guys got something. On behalf of Smugmug, welcome. On behalf of Seth and I, thank you so much for coming, and we appreciate your input, all those great questions and so forth. And that's really pretty much it. Go and have fun with this. Go and click the buttons and have a good time. On behalf of Smugmug, for Seth, I am Sean, and we are wishing you a wonderful day and welcome to our family. Take care, everybody.